Yeah, today we are going to see what are the different tools we need and how to download them and what are the different data types we have. That is the agenda of this session. First thing we need to remember two websites, that is apple.com. Another one is developer.apple.com. Apple.com is just to know about the updates from the Apple for the public, like what are the different devices or what is new to the public. And developer.apple.com is the one, it is what is new for the technology, like for the developers, what is new. To download the Xcode, the tool what we need is Xcode. This is the Mac PC plus Xcode we need along with iOS SDK. Xcode and iOS SDK comes together from developer.apple.com, developer.apple.com. Go to the bottom. There you can find Xcode here. Here you have download. You can download either from Mac App Store. Mac App Store means where you find application for the Mac. This is the Mac App Store. From here also you can download. This is a separate application which by default comes with the Mac, or you can use the website. I'm just using the website and see. Here in the Mac App Store also go here and search for Xcode. I already have Xcode, so it is asking for update. If you do not have any Xcode installed on your system, it asks you for download. Okay, let's say here we are having all the different softwares, different tools here. Xcode, just search for Xcode and see. This is the Xcode latest, Xcode 14. You can download this. It is around 7 GB. And Xcode 14 beta, like prior to Xcode public, Xcode 14 public version, there was beta 6, beta 5, beta 4, etc. And if you want Xcode 13 also, you can download. You can check according to your Mac OS compatibility. Okay, even if you want to install Xcode 14 on your older Mac PC, it does not accept. Okay, you can either need to update your Mac PC. Okay, here you can see what is the version. It is 12.2. The Mac OS version is 12.2. The compatible version for this is Xcode 14 also works for me. But according to your Mac, you need to check the compatibility and you need to install the required Xcode. This is where we can install the Xcode from. And apple.com is the place where you can see the updates for the public from the Apple, like different devices, whatever. Okay, let's get started. This is the Xcode. Once you install the Xcode, you will find that Xcode under applications. Here you can find Xcode. At the same point of time, we can have multiple Xcodes as well, but you need to differentiate that with the name here. By default, it is Xcode. If you want to install Xcode, if you want to have Xcode 13 and Xcode 14, also you can have, but you need to differentiate with the name. Xcode 13, Xcode 14. Okay, multiple Xcodes can also be running on the same PC, but that is required some point of time. Sometimes that is also required. Like when new Xcode comes into picture, like let's say I have been building applications for iOS Xcode with the Xcode 13. Now Xcode 14 has come. There might be some changes, okay, which you need to follow. Okay, if it does not work on the Xcode 14, again you need to open that on the Xcode 13 and you need to do some changes. Okay, that is also possible, but most of the time you do not require two Xcodes. Let us open the Xcode. Either you can go to applications and open Xcode. Okay, let me remove from here. Very first time I would like see. This is Xcode. Either you can come here and double click to open, or you can use the Spotlight to launch it. I'm using Spotlight to launch it. Xcode. Enter. Xcode. This area is known as dock, the bottom area. Okay. Fine. Let me create a first new Xcode project. Double click here. You can use the playground instead of application. You can use the playground. Let's search for playground. Swift playground app. Let's see. My first playground. Save that somewhere on desktop. Yeah. Anyways, we got a Swift UI here. You can choose whether you want a Swift or Swift UI, like storyboard or Swift UI. Okay, let me quit this and go here. I'm directly taking playground instead of project. I'm taking playground here. Playground is a lightweight editor. I'm taking blank here. My first playground. Okay, this is the simple editor where you can test your code snippets. Okay, it is very plain and simple. There is nothing here, only one file where I have imported. It is by default imported UI kit. Okay, let me take you through the documentation. We know how to download the tools and how to install them. Once you download the tool, you just need to double click to launch it. Like it gets started like you need to read the license and mark it as a read and accept the terms and conditions, and you can click on next. That will be installed. There is no issue there. And coming to Swift is the programming language which we are going to learn. We are going to spend around 20 to 25 days on Swift to get a very strong grip on programming language which we use for entire our life. We see all these things like Swift features, data types, what is led to where. So almost 95% of the concepts from which are mentioned on Apple documentation, there we can all those things will be covered here. First thing is what is Swift features. Swift is a programming language developed for developing applications for iOS, macOS, tvOS, and watchOS. Once you learn Swift programming language, you can develop applications for all these four variety of devices. Swift is a type-safe language. That is the feature of one of the features of Swift programming language. It is high performance and faster, modern, and open source. Open source in the sense you can also suggest some changes to the Apple, like modify this, modify that. Like open source means you can the code which is used for developing Swift is public. Okay, it is less code compared to Objective-C. Swift can be also used along with the Objective-C. You can use in one project. You can use Swift as well as Objective-C. Okay, these things for just for interview purpose. Now, what is program? Program is a set of instructions, some lines of code, which takes some input and produces some output in the form of data. Program means some lines of code which takes some input and which produces some output. The input and output are in the form of data. Let's say there is a calculator. You want to perform some addition functionality. You need to provide some input like 2 plus 2. You need to provide two numbers. The 2 and 2 are the inputs, are called as data. Again, once you give 2, that is processed by the calculator and gives you the output as 4, displays as 4. 4 is again output, which is data. The input is also data. The output is also data. Okay, those are numbers. Okay, you can also assume that there is a program which converts lowercase letters, all small ABC to capital ABC. That is also program. Here ABC is some data which you are passing to the program. The program processes the input and converts the lowercase letters to the uppercase letters and gives you the output as capital letter ABC. Here, ABC and ABC, these two input and output are data. Those are in the form of letters, right? Those are called strings. See, this is the input. Input is of different types. Input is of type different types. These are whole numbers, these are floating point values, these are single characters, multiple characters, true or false, many varieties. And that is processed by the program, set of instructions, and again, the output will be given. The output is also again in the form of data. Again, in the form of data, the data is of different types. Those different types are classified into different names. If it is a whole number, that is captured by the integer. That is captured by the integer. You need to store as integer. These data are classified into different data types. These are whole numbers are known as integers. Floating point values are known as float or double. Single characters are known as characters. Multiple characters are known as strings. True or false known as Boolean. These are the various primitive data types. Primitive data types means predefined data types which are available in Swift. Only these are the data which you use most of the time. There are some other data types like arrays, like to hold the collections. We're having different data types. We can also create our own data types. We see that as well. Program is clear, right? Program is set of instructions which takes some input, and the input will be processed by the program and output will be given. Here, the input and output both are data. The data can be either whole numbers, floating point values, characters, strings, true or false. These are classified into different data types. Whole numbers are known as integers. Floating point values are known as floats or doubles. Single character is known as character. Multiple characters is known as string. True or false is known as Boolean. Bool, we can say bool. Boolean, generally we say, but the corresponding data type is bool. Based on the data or value, the data values are classified into different types, such as all these things. How to declare variable? Here we are giving input, and that is processed by the program, and again the output is given. Here, whatever value you give the input to, that should be saved somewhere in the memory, somewhere in the RAM. That should be saved somewhere in the RAM. Assume that you want to perform addition. Okay, you are giving 2, 3. 2 and 3 are the two values which should be saved somewhere in the RAM, somewhere in the memory. Then the values are considered. Then the values are taken by the program, and that is processed and gives you the output. Again, the output will be saved somewhere in the memory. Okay. For the input, we need some space. For output also, we need some space. How to allocate that space? This is how we can allocate the space. This is syntax. Let A, what type of the A value and value. Let A after integer value is 10. Here, int is a data type. All these are known as data types. These are the variety of data, right? Each one is different type. Based on the type, we are having different data types. One such type is integer. This is how we declare a variable. Let, I'll tell you what is let. Let means constant. Let means constant. A, the memory location is A, and integer and 10. Value is the 10. Here, int is a data type. A is a variable and variable name. 10 is value. Let's specify so A is constant. Okay. Now, what is the definition of data type? Data type specifies to the compiler that what kind of value the declared variable can store. What kind of value the declared variable can store. The compiler, what is compiler here? Compiler is a tester, we can say, checker. Whether the given program is properly aligned or not, properly written or not, whether we are following syntax or not. Compiler is the, we can say, one kind of checker. Compiler checks whether the given instructions are properly followed or not, properly written or not. Compiler checks. Okay, here data type specifies to the compiler. Data types tells to the compiler, I want to store some space. I want some space. of type integer to store the value 10 and give that space name is A. Compiler, I want to allocate some space after integer space. I want to store value 10 there and the storage name is A. This is what the compiler tells to the data type to the compiler. Data type specifies to the compiler that what kind of value the declared variable can store. Here it is telling the data telling I want to store integers to the compiler. These are the various other data types we are having. We see one by one. Data type uses how to use the data type. Let me take you through the program. This is the playground. We know how to create. Go here, new, create a playground. This is the lightweight editor. You need not to run the application every time to test small things. I'm giving let name is a type string. String is the one data what we are having. Here I'm giving Swift. Let duration. Duration will be in form of integer, right? I'm giving integer 60 days. Let fee. Fee, it can be floating point values as well. Let me give that. Float is after float is another data we are having. Assume that I am giving 1499, 999 to something, some value, and let is offline boolean is offline false. It is online course, and we are having integer, float, character. Character we do not have. Let what we can have for character. Let's say I'm giving first character. Simply I'm giving character data type. First character is yes from Swift. Okay, I just want to declare all the varied data types. Okay, what it is to the compiler. I want some space to store Swift. The storage type is string. The storage name is name. Here, compiler, I want some space for integer to store value of 60. Assign some name to that memory, that space, that is duration. Fee, compiler, I want some space to store a floating point value of this value, and fee is and the name is so and so. And compiler, I want to store one boolean. The value is false and the name is so and so. These are the various data types we are having. Character also same thing. These are the primitive data types which we got by default from the program, by default from the Swift. Okay, clear? We are clearly specifying memory location name is name, and the type is string, and the value is so and so. What happens when you do this? One memory will be allocated. Some memory location will be allocated in the RAM. This is RAM. Some memory will be allocated for the value string. Swift is the string which we want to store, and this is stored somewhere in the memory on the RAM, and give you a name, that is name. This is what happens. This is RAM. This is memory location. Name of the memory location is name, and the value is Swift. Similarly, for integer also, some memory location will be allocated. Duration 60. One more memory location is allocated on the RAM. Similarly, one more memory location will be allocated for the fee. $9,999.99 floating point value. Since I am having floating point value, I have taken it as a float. If you put integer, it takes, but let me. And similarly, Boolean, it takes true or false. It can only hold true or false. Strings holds strings. Integer holds integer value. Even if you give 99 here, it will not take, because we are specifying integer memory location. In integer memory location, you are trying to put something float or double. Okay. What it is saying, cannot convert a value after double to specify type integer. The memory location is after integer, but we are trying to put some other data type. Only I can hold whole values. If you give whole value without floating point values, it is accepting. It is accepting. This is where you can run the application. There is nothing to run, only the values are, the memory locations are allocated here. Okay. Similarly, let me create two variables. Let a value is of type integer equal to, I'm putting 10. Let b value is of type integer equal to 20. These are the two input values I prepared for performing addition. Let result equal to a value plus b value. Here, this is one instruction actually. This is one instruction. What it is performing, it is taking value from a value location, and it is also taking value from b value location, and adding those two values and assigning that to a different location. That is the result. Let me print is a statement where you can print the output. From here also you can run, or from here also you can run manually. Yeah. I ran it. Now 10 is created and the memory 20 is also created. I am performing addition. 10 plus 20, 30 is printed here. 30 is displayed. 30 is printed. This is the console actually. This is console area where exactly the output is displayed. This is just to preview. Okay. This is the one instruction which we performed and saving that on result. Clear? These are the various data types we are having. Here, let is there, right? I have declared two values here, a value and b value. I want to change in between. A value equal to, I just want to put 100 instead of 10. See what is the error. Cannot assign to value. A value is let constant. A value you have already specified. A value is constant. A memory location A is constant. Memory location A value is constant. You're trying to modify the value of that. I don't allow. To modify that, what we have is we have var. Var means changeable. Let means constant. Okay, even in interviews, you will find what is the difference between let and var. Let is constant, whereas var is variable or changeable. Clear? This is one way of declaring memory, one way of declaring variables. Second way also, I'll show you. Let name, let's say my name equal to DNREDDi. Let initial equal to A. Let experience equal to 10 years. Let is tutor, is trainer equal to true. What else we have? We have used float. Let is something is 32.5. Let's say. Okay. Here also there is no issue here. This is one way of declaring where we are specifying data type. Here we are not specifying data type, but we are specifying values. This is also fine. You don't have to mention every time. This is string. This is character. This is integer. You don't have to mention every time. Okay. This is known as when you are specifying the data type explicitly. That is known as the type annotation. type annotation. I'm just putting it as a comment. When you use double slashes, this is comment. Comment means dead code, which is not evaluated while compiling or while running. This is not evaluated. This is not considered. Okay. What is the purpose of comment? To give more clarity. Or if you do not want to run something, I don't want to run this line of code, I don't want to modify it. Okay, then you can comment. You can either double time, you can type backslash or command slash single time. Command slash one time you press. If you want to give multi-comment, multi-line comment, select everything from here to here and command backslash. All the lines will be commented. There is another way as well. Backslash star backslash. Multi-line comment can be given in two different ways. This is the recommended way. This looks neat. Okay, you can also give like this. Select everything, command backslash. Okay, this is called type annotation. This is called type inference. Type inference. Type inference means type annotation. The definition of the type annotation is explicitly specifying the data type of a variable. Explicitly specifying the data type of a variable. We are explicitly specifying the data type of a variable. That is called type annotation. Type inference. The process of compiler itself identifies the data type of a variable based on the value provided. We are providing value, right? This is we are providing value. Based on the value provided, the compiler itself identifies what type it is. Here also we are providing. We are not specifying any data type here in all these 5 different statements, but the compiler is not giving any error because compiler itself identified what type of data type it is, what type of value, what type of data type it is based on the value provided. Since we have provided string here, it is considered as string. Let me print my string. See, it is my name. It is showing my name is after string. Let me display age. Age is by default double. It is not float. By default, all the floating point values are doubles. Remember. Let me put initial. Initial is, see, let me take some other name. Initial one. Let me change that. It is, yeah, it is showing right. It is showing. I thought it is not showing. Initial is string. Actually, it is character. By default, all the characters are strings. If you want this initial to be character, you have to explicitly specify that. Otherwise, by default, it is string. And experience is by default integer. Whole value, right? Whole values are considered as integer. True or false is trainer. It is Boolean. You can see here, it is Boolean. Only problem here is when you do not specify any data type for the characters, that is considered as strings. When you do not provide any data type for floating point values, that is considered as double. By default, this is double. By default, these are strings. Okay, these are the various data types what we are having. Today we have learned what are the various primitive data types we are having and what is type annotation, what is type inference, what is data type, what exactly is the program, how to download the tools and install them. Any doubts here?